In the last 12 months, my team and I have ran 208 A/B tests for our portfolio of Shopify clients. And I cherry-picked the top 5 that generated the most amount of revenue. So in today's video, I'm gonna break every single one of those tests. Now, most people think about conversion rate optimization as finding the right headline or having the right trust badges in the checkout or optimizing the button color. But this is where most people go wrong about testing. The 8 and 9-figure brands that are dominating the market are winning because they have a system for testing new ideas. This is a repeatable, data-driven process that turns every single test into a learning and every learning into revenue. So before I jump in and I show you those 5 tests, I'm gonna pull the curtain and I'm gonna show you the exact system that generated those massive wins. By the way, I'm Andre and I run a boutique CRO firm that works exclusively with Shopify brands that are doing at least 10 million a year in revenue. And last year, we generated $40 million for multiple brands with a 39% win rate. Meanwhile, the industry average is somewhere around 20%. Now, let's get into the system. I call this the VOS, and this is the Validare Optimization System. This is the exact process that turns $50 million brands, and they use it to increase their revenue per visitor, conversion rate, AOV, increase profitability, and rise above the competition. So here's how the system looks like. So this is how the VOS system looks like. Right after the onboarding, we start doing 40 to 50 hours of research, and we split the research in 2 pathways. The first one is the qualitative data. Here is where we want to understand why customers buy or why they don't buy. And this is essentially the voice of the customer. We want to read comments on Facebook, what people are saying about us on Trustpilot, on Reddit. We do customer interviews to truthfully understand what do they think about our brand, how do they speak about our brand, how do they label our brand. Once we have this data, which is from multiple sources, we move on to the quantitative data. And this is where we act just like a doctor that tries to identify what is the exact issue. It can be the stomach, it can be the liver. This is exactly what we do with the funnel. We want to identify what is the weak link, the part of the funnel that where people are dropping off because they have an issue. And this is where we do analysis with Shopify analysis, GA4 analysis, heat map analysis, and a few others. Once we gather all this really good data, we combine it together, and then we move on to the strategy. On the strategy level, this is our kitchen. This is where we make the cooking. We gather all of these data into one, and we want to create at least 4 pathways of optimization for the next 3 to 6 months. They can be trying to solve the problems that the business has or chasing opportunities that we can fix. Now, once we have those 4 big core problems, line them up, we start essentially preparing the ongoing A/B testing optimization process. This usually takes between 3 to 6 months to see significant results, which combines designs, development, QA. We launch the test, we analyze the test, and then we go into an infinite loop where we try to learn, get better, implement wins, and the revenue just keeps stacking over and over again. This is, in a nutshell, the exact system that brands use to scale systematically, not just by having random chaotic changes on the website. Now, this is an example of quantitative research where we go into GA4, we split the traffic into multiple pieces, as you can see, from homepage to collection to product page to the cart, and to the cart to checkout. We want to analyze and see where are the biggest drop-off. Where is the biggest drop-off? And right now, as we can see, the biggest abandonment rate is 74% in the product page and 67% in the cart. This now, with this information, we combine the why, and we want to understand what people are missing. It can be social proof. It can be that they were not sure when the product is going to arrive to the door. It can be even the fact that the offer wasn't strong enough for them to move on to the next step. This was a pure example of how the system works. Once we have multiple sources of data being brought together, we can cook a lot of ideas and try to optimize the product page and the cart. At least now for the next 3 months, we know that if we optimize these 2 things alone now and unlock the revenue that is currently dropping and is bleeding in the cart, in the PDP, the brand is going to make a lot more money. Now, this is a huge common mistake that most brands are doing. They chase big website redesigns. And here's the big problem. Major redesigns, they confuse your pixel data and they tanks the ad performance. Because let's say that you spend 20 grand on optimizing a website and it takes like 4 months for the website to be live. And what happens if it just loses? Then you don't know why the new website, it should be better, actually doesn't convert as good as you want to, or you were thinking that it's going to perform, or it wins. And once you implement the new website, the ads start to underperform and it's almost impossible or super hard to get them back. And I've been talking with so many entrepreneurs that are doing 7 and 8 figures that did that and they lost more than 7 figures. That is insane. So please don't do that. Now, real growth comes from small, tested changes that protect the ad spend while adding millions in revenue. So now that you know exactly what we did to find those tests, where did we look at? Now I'm going to show you exactly what we did. Okay? So starting up with the first test, which is an offer improvement. And the main hypothesis here is that if we clearly communicate that customers receive 2 free gifts automatically when purchasing, then customers will feel they are getting more value for the same price, because people are more incentivized to buy when they feel they are getting an extra benefit or a free item. And this is how the test looked like. This is the before and this is the after. By the way, with these upcoming tests, I'm not going to be able to disclose the identity of our brands. So what we did, we made a couple mock-ups just to paint the picture and show you a good example. So what we did here, we added 2 free gifts with any product. We added a free double filtration kit and we added the price next to it. So it creates that sense of perceived value, and $19 for the free thermometer. We used the psychological principle of perceived value stacking. Once this test was finished, it resulted in 25% increase in conversion rate and 101K per month in added revenue. Now, here are a couple learnings. The value-added messaging like free gifts is a strong motivator and can significantly increase the purchase intent without discounting the product. In this example, I'm going to go back. We used also the reciprocity principle, where we give something for free and customers feel almost obligated to give something back to us. And I want you to imagine when you go to a restaurant and there is a waiter that is giving you like a candy right after you want to pay for the bill, you kind of feel almost subconsciously obligated to leave some tip. Is exactly the same thing that happens in here. And the biggest brands in the world that are scaling with cold traffic are using the exact same principle. I want you to look at Huel. I want you to look at AG1. I want you to look at Space Goods. This is how you differentiate yourself from the market, by being creative and making a sexier offer. Okay, now test number 2 is the search optimization. The hypothesis here is that if we show the best-selling products below the search bar before users even start typing, then users are more likely to click on a product directly from the search experience and proceed to checkout, because it reduces the friction in product discovery and leverages social proof from top selling items. This is how the test was look like. So before, as I was in the search bar, I could start typing for the right product that I want to look at, or I can just press on a couple buttons here. But what we did, we showcased the best sellers. So now people, instead of thinking they just can click on the right product they're looking for, it's already a bestseller. It's almost what they are looking at. And this reduces so much friction because now they don't have to think. For this test, we used the psychological principle of intent architecture, which is a very powerful UX principle that basically, as I explained to you, reduces the friction. We just want to reduce as much friction as we can. And this test generated 5% increase in conversion rate in 200K per month in lift. And I want you to look again at the after, because just from this change alone, nothing else was added on the website, just this. Customers now get way faster to checkout and the brand makes 200K more just from this. This is absolutely insane. And this is the power of small incremental changes. Now, the learnings is that product recommendations shown earlier in the search journey leads to a faster purchases because there is less friction, which makes total sense. Now, the third test is collection page trust badges. This is a very nice one. So the hypothesis here is that if we add the brand policies or the USPs on the collection pages, then users will feel more confident continuing to product exploration and adding items to cart, because clear information or trust elements help people feel safe making a purchase. And this is how the before and after look like. So the before was just the basic collection of a Shopify store, and the after, we just added the unique selling propositions sprinkled throughout the collection page. So now when customers are browsing, they are getting educated and they start to gain more trust. Because what is happening majority of the times, when you might see on the checkout that people are not checking out as much as you want to, or you have a low conversion rate, it might not be because you have necessarily problems in the cart or the checkout. Sometimes customers, they do not have enough trust in your brand and they have objections that are not being responded earlier in the funnel. So in order to fix those problems, we want to pre-handle those objections before they even appear. So because we educate them and we assure them that they get free shipping, that this brand has a lot of customers that are happy. It's not they are just a lot of customers, but they are also happy. This makes a big difference, by the way, when you say that you have happy customers. It means that you're a trusted brand, and in their subconscious mind, there is a level of trust that starts to create as they are even browsing. So when they get to checkout, they don't have that anxiety, that fear, and they end up purchasing. And this is how you make a lot more money from the same traffic that you're sending to the website. So this test raised the conversion rate by 15% and added 117K per month in revenue. Now, the learnings are that collections aren't just for discovery, as most people think. They play a critical role in persuasion, not just for navigation. Now, the fourth test is the discount display test. This is a very interesting one. So if we show discounts in percentages or in actual dollar amounts, then we will increase the perceived value and encourage higher conversions, because displaying clear savings triggers a stronger sense of getting a good deal, motivating the purchase intent. So again, this is a mock-up. This is not the exact brand that we optimized this, but this is what we did. Before, they were not showing how much the user is saving because they were having crazy deals. Like you can see here, this is like $193 off. This is a lot of money. We wanted to see what is the difference if we make the math and we show them in a 37% saving versus the right amount of dollar that they are saving. And the one that crushed was the variant A. This one works so well because we literally did the math for them. And then they could observe that, hey, I'm actually saving so much money. It's just clear, it's in my face. And then they got to the checkout and they end up purchasing. So this test increased the conversion rate by 11.95% and added $157,000 per month. This is just one tiny change on multiple product pages. This test added so much money. Like, I want you to look again and realize how important it is to make micro changes, not just to completely redesign the website. Now, here are the learnings. Show the exact dollars saved, not just the percentage. People understand $193 saved better than 37%, and it makes the deal feel real and worth taking on. Why this works? Because dollars are concrete. Percentages make people do math. When someone sees $193, they instantly know what they're getting. It removes any hesitation and it makes the value impossible to ignore. Now, this is the last test, and this has been almost common sense, but so many brands just don't even think about their speed. They just think that just having the basic Shopify theme, it's fast enough. It's not the case. You add so much code, they have so many apps, and they all slow down the website. So the hypothesis here was, if we switch traffic to a faster, speed-optimized theme versus the current theme, then more users will browse and complete the checkout, lifting the conversion as the main KPI. Because shorter load times reduce friction and drop-offs, making buying feel smoother. Now, this is the before. There was the largest contentful pane, which is an LCP, was 30 seconds, and the blocking time was 703 ms. And here, this is the after. You can see it went down to 6, and the performance increased dramatically, and the total blocking time is now on green, which is amazing. Then we A/B tested the old theme versus the new theme, and this had a 10% increase in conversion rate and $140,000. This is the difference that you're losing right now. Now imagine that this brand was bleeding 100K per month just because the website wasn't optimized. It was loading very slowly, and customers are dropping off if the website is not fast enough. The learnings and why this works is that faster pages convert better. When your site loads quickly, more visitors stick around and buy, because everything is so smooth. People are becoming so impatient. And right now, because of the digitalization and the social media, where you have the attention span of a chicken, every second of delay is literally more people are leaving your website. So you have to take care of this. And every other test that I mentioned before sits on the speed foundation. If the website is not fast enough, nothing else matters. This is crucial, and I cannot stress enough. By the way, I made a free PDF that you can find in a link in the description that I went way more in depth on how 9 and 8 figure brands are using to scale with conversion rate optimization. It's around 45 pages, has a lot of value. Make sure you check it out. All right, so let's do a quick recap. These were 5 of the most powerful tests that generated almost 700K per month in added revenue. This was not intuition, this was data. And this is the key point that I want you to take away from this video. Please do not just take and straight away go and implement these to your brand, because they are not going to work. These were not lucky guesses. They were done through research. You want to identify where is the problem, why people are not purchasing, and then trying to solve those problems in a systematic way. Remember what I said in the beginning is that the biggest brands in the world, they scale because they have a dial-in system that keeps running A/B tests that are actually with a clear intention, trying to solve a specific problem that the business has, not just doing something that we call spaghetti testing. Also, if you want to leverage this system and make sure that you have a proper team that runs this hands off and actually know what they're doing, if you're doing more than 10 million a year in revenue and you have a Shopify store, there is a link in my bio where you can go on the website, check out our case studies, and you can book a free call. This has no strings attached. It's just a call that's going to be with me personally, when I'm going to run through your website. I'm going to analyze the whole funnel. I'm going to give you the exact things that I would start testing in the beginning. So if this video was helpful, please drop a like and comment down below which one was your favorite test that surprised you the most. I'll see you in the next one.